Oh hey, hello everyone, my name is Lowko, and today I got an episode of StarCraft II Study for you. This time it's going to be a Zerg vs Zerg style, the way LiquidTLO likes to play, and before we actually go into the game, I would really like to talk about Zerg vs Zerg in general. So Zerg vs Zerg is this matchup that a lot of people do not really know how to play it, just because it's really weird. It can change in basically a second. One wrong fungal or one proper fungal, I should say, or one good bailing hit can basically change the entire game around. And it's just really hard to actually get a grasp of the proper meta game, especially in StarCraft 2 because it's changing so damn fast. However, my worst matchup is as well Zerg vs Zerg, and I actually don't have a really good grasp on how to play it either. So in this episode we are going to take a look at LiquidTLO, and at least the very basics of the build order we can copy. In Zerg vs Zerg, of course, you have the exact same units as your opponent does, and it gets incredibly hard to actually know what you are doing wrong and what you are doing right. Of course, when you lose a whole bunch of Zerglings to one bailing, you know what you're doing wrong, but it's still really hard to work on, and it's hard to grasp a proper build order. However, we are going to take a look at LiquidTLO, so let's start the replay. And yeah, I'll just be talking a little bit more about Zerg vs Zerg. So Zerg vs Zerg is kind of this matchup where you try to get up as many drones without dying to Ling Bailing or to Mutalisk. That's kind of what it feels like. Roaches are kind of that unit that defends really well, but is really vulnerable to counterattacks, but does a lot of damage once you have enough of them. And Hydralisk are basically just there to support the Roach composition that's already there, or to counter the Mutalisk. And of course we also have the Infestor that does the most damage. Is probably one of the strongest units in the entire meta game at the moment. Just because they basically are good at every stage in the game. Of course you have Broadlords, you have Ultralisk, but they are really late game units. They are really tough to get. But Infestors are basically the go-to unit at the point in time. But let's take a look at LiquidTLO. So LiquidTLO has always been this player that does his own stuff. He doesn't really listen to anyone telling him what to do, or he doesn't really like to just copy someone straight up. It looks like he's always been doing his own thing, doing a lot of, yeah, like unstandard kind of stuff, and you know, he's been practicing really hard lately. This replay pack of where this replay is from is actually released last week, I think, so it should be fairly recent. He's working hard, he's training hard, so he's probably at his best at this point in time. So let's take a look at his Zerg vs Zerg. So as you can see already, he opened up with a 9 Overlord right there. 9 Overlord already going down, and there we see the 15 hatchery going down. So next up, after this 15 hatchery, he doesn't get any gas geyser up or anything. He just goes ahead and actually gets a 15 or 14 spawning pool. I've actually watched a bunch of replays from this guy, and it looks like on the bigger maps he actually favors a spawning pool on 15 supply, whereas on the smaller maps, when you need Zerglings a little bit earlier, he actually gets it on 14 supply. Well, then he just carries on his normal play, and he's going to get a 17 Overlord at 17 out of 18 supply. So the big thing in Zerg vs Zerg especially is this moment. He is going to scout, there we go, he's going to scout the base of his opponent, in this case Sen, really early on. He knows that his opponent is going for a relatively early base as well. It's going to be an hedge first for his opponent. So this is going to change most likely his strategy completely. Well, at this point in time, it's going to be one of the most standard openers, but of course there's always a lot of one basing play for Zerg vs Zerg especially. So if you wouldn't have seen this base, it's really hard to tell what LiquidTLO would have done differently. But I'm going to assume that especially on bigger maps you can probably pull it off, but just playing a little bit more defensively instead of getting aggressive and maybe getting a spine crawler early on. So I'll actually point out where you could probably get that. So let's just continue the replay right now. So the next big thing, he's just going to make drones, especially once he sees that his opponent is going for a hatchery first as well. There's really no reason not to go for drones. So what he is going to do is actually go double queen as soon as this spawning pool finishes. So let's actually speed it up just a little tiny bit. There we go. Spawning pool finishes, and at this point in time he's going to start a queen in his main as well as a queen in his natural as soon as this base finishes. So one thing to keep in mind in Zerg vs Zerg especially is that you do not want to oversaturate your mineral lines. You just basically do never ever want to do that. So the big thing here is that you just keep in mind you want to have about 16 drones in the mineral line. What LiquidTLO is going to do shortly is actually make 2 gas geysers. So he actually has 18 right now just to save up that extra traveling time that it takes between 2 bases, but he's not going to go over this amount of drones at this point in time, so he's going to rally everything to his natural right now. So I would advise you to do pretty much the same thing right now. So here we go, we are going to actually just see LiquidTLO droning and droning and droning. He's just going to make drones, and that's basically his plan for this time in the game. He's going to make overlords, obviously. I believe he's getting one at 26 supply. It doesn't really matter that much. You can get it in 24, 27-ish, just somewhere around that area. And the big next thing that you're going to see is when this first queen pops out. As you gotta keep in mind, this first queen is almost about to finish right now, and in his natural, the queen is a little bit later. So there we go. The queen is out at this point in time, and what is going to happen is that LiquidTLO gets another queen up right after getting this queen, as well as, wait for it, make me proud, there we go, double gas going down as soon as this first queen pops. So this first queen finishes, a third queen gets immediately started in the hatchery, and there's 2 gas geysers going down at the exact same time. So what is LiquidTLO going to do with his first queen? Well, he's going to actually walk it down to the natural just in for defense. And as you might have noticed, there's no Zerglings out just yet, and it's hard to tell if this is because his opponent went for a hatchery first, or if he just feels completely safe defending everything with 2 queens. I would most likely assume LiquidTLO would have gotten about 4 Zerglings just for defensive purposes. Probably going to get them right about now when his first queen pops as well, so you can actually defend with 4 Zerglings on the ramp and with a queen as well, having 1 queen to defend the natural. But once again, that is really game specific, and I'm just going to assume my opponent for my games is going to be hatchery firsting as well. Might as well do another video on where his opponent does not hatch first or where he can't scout it. So there we go, he's going to put this queen right about here on the low ground, and he is just going to actually make more and more stuff. So here we see the extractors about to being finished, and he is just going to get a lot of stuff up. So here we go, he's going to immediately start mining all those gases, and once this this first queen that got from his main base and walked down to the natural gets 25 energy, once again he's actually going to put down 1 creep tumor right about now. Here we go. This is going to be the 1 creeper tumor that he makes. This is actually that I got really excited about watching this replay and the other replays of LiquidTLO. He only gets 1 creep tumor up, and after this he's just going to save up energy on this queen for transfusion if it's necessary on his queens or on his buildings or on spire rolls or whatever. So just 1 creep tumor going down, probably going to try and connect those with his 3rd base or maybe spread them out towards his opponent. Of course, creep spread isn't the biggest of things in Zerg vs Zerg especially. So here we go, we see the 3rd queen injecting in his main, as well as the 2nd queen injecting in the natural and just making more and more drones. The production tab, as you can see, more and more drones going down. So the next big thing that I also got really interested by is that he doesn't get the Zergling speed up at 100 gas. Right now, he is at, yeah, he's actually at 100 gas right now, and he is not going to get Zergling speed. Instead, what he does is get an evolution chamber up at 100 gas. He also starts a lair as soon as he can right now after getting this evo chamber. So here we go, bam, 150 minerals. There we go, lair going down right away. He's actually being a little bit oversaturated, looks like. Oh no, it's just actually drones drones messing around in the mineral line. But yeah, it's going to be evo chamber into lair, into another 100 gas almost, where he gets a 2nd evolution chamber as well as another Vespium geyser up. So after this, he actually starts to feel a little bit pressured, because he sees his opponent is not taking a 3rd base just yet, and he doesn't have a 3rd base of himself either. He doesn't have Zergling speed up. It's also, at this point in time, it's going to be necessary that he's going to take the necessary precautions to actually defend any kind of push that could be coming out. Of course, he has this overlord position. Actually, I could dedicate an entire video just to overlord positioning, because this is the golden position right here, which will now allow him to actually see everything that's incoming. But yeah, Right now it's going to be really important that he is going to be able to defend any kind of pressure. So here we see the first evolution chamber finishing, and he starts the +1 range upgrade. As soon as he starts the +1 range upgrade, he sends out a drone to actually make a roach warren. Right here, as you can see, this is going to be a wall of. So it's going to be a great wall of that is going to be awesome, awesome versus any kind of run by. Because what is this going to do? Well, you can actually put those two queens right there, put them on hold position, and nothing is going through here at all. So right after getting this roach warren up, he also gets the 4th gas geyser up right about now, putting drones into the 4th or the 3rd gas geyser as well. He's also going to start the +1 armor upgrade on his evolution chamber for his roaches that will come out later this game. So at this point in time, his lair is about to be finished. He hasn't seen any pressure by his opponent just yet, and it's just really hard to say what's going on in his opponent's main. And at this point in time, he's most likely assuming that his opponent went as well for a early lair play, because, well, why else would you do that? And how is he going to respond to it? Well, here we go. We see a spire. So this is basically where I should just completely stop this replay analysis of LiquidTLO. There's no use in actually going any further in this matchup. Oh, actually, I forgot to mention he also gets a spine crawler at 7 minutes up, just to reinforce this wall off. But at this point in time, it becomes so incredibly game specific. I would actually recommend you just copy this build if you see your opponent going for this kind of play as well, until about this point in time. So where he gets his 4th gas geyser saturated, he doesn't have his spire up just yet, and he can start roach speed as soon as the roach warren finishes. I would copy it as much as you can at this point, so no more than this, because of course in this case it will be useful to actually have a spire up. Well, it actually turns out to be less useful in this specific game, but in Zerg vs Zerg there's just too much variables that you have to keep in mind. So actually, let's talk about the build order once more that you can copy when your opponent goes for a hatchery first, and you can scout him early on. So what he's going to do is get a 9 overlord up, followed up by a 15 hatchery at his natural. He then gets a 14 or 15 spawning pool up depending on the map that he's playing on, and gets a 17 overlord. After this overlord, his spawning pool finishes and he goes for a double queen at 19 supply, his main queen being a little bit quicker than his natural queen. And after this main queen finishes, he is just going to get another queen up as well as double gases. Meanwhile, he's just droning up, he's just making as many drones as he possibly can. So this first queen is going to walk down to the natural. Well, of course this isn't the first queen anymore, but the queen that comes from the original main is going to lay down 1 creep tumor that he's going to use to make a little bit of a creep spread down his natural, and then he's going to save energy on that 1 queen. So right about that point in time, he also gets 100 gas up, at which point he actually starts an evolution chamber in his natural as well as a lair. After he gets another 100 gas, he actually starts the 3rd gas geyser as well as a other evolution chamber. Well, I'm getting cold on my phone. Get that out of here. So yeah, oh my god. Okay, I'm sorry about that. That was actually my phone being really annoying. So I was at the point that he got a other evolution chamber up, as well as a 3rd gas geyser. After that, he starts the +1 range upgrade in his roach warren, or in his evolution chamber for his roaches. He then gets a roach warren up as well as a 4th gas geyser as soon as he gets his roach warren up. And after that, he just starts upgrading his roaches till the top. And he starts getting the roach speed upgrade as soon as his lair finishes. Another important thing to note is that he did not scout anything at this point in time. But as soon as his lair finishes, he starts a spire in this case. And he also starts a overseer to actually scout everything that's going on in his opponent's base. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I would actually not take this game any further if I were you. Especially in Zerg vs Zerg, that's kind of a feeling that you have. And it's just something that you have to practice and practice and practice. So I would recommend you try out this build order, you give it a shot, see if you like it. And if you don't like it, well, don't use it, copy another player. If you do like it, try to expand on it and try to see in what situations it's going to get hard for you. So I want to thank you all for watching. In the next episode we are going to do actually me playing this build order and seeing my problems that I'm actually facing while doing this build order. I want to thank you all for watching. Have a great day and I see you again. Bye! Oh, and by the way, don't forget, the build order of this build is going to be in the description of this video. So you don't need to write it out yourself. Thanks for watching, bye!